Well, first up tonight, right to the big board, and political reporter Rick Albin. Rick, what does the presidential race look like at this point?
It's 11 o'clock, and right now the electoral vote estimate is that Joe Biden would have 118 and Donald Trump would have 114. That's about as close as you're going to get as we start into this 11 o'clock hour. What does it look like here in the state? 35% of the precincts reporting 55% for Trump, 44% for Biden. We know that there are many votes to come in, and many of those are going to be those early voting or those absentee votes. State of Michigan, as a technical matter, doesn't have early voting. It's no reason absentee that extends weeks in advance of the actual election. So this is what we believe is largely a reflection of all those votes that were cast today, or at least some of them, representing, again, about 35% of all votes. If you take a look across the state, it looks pretty much like it did 4 years ago, except that in this scenario, there's much more red because you haven't factored in some of those other votes, no doubt, that will contain some Democratic votes. Notably, Muskegon County went for Hillary Clinton 4 years ago, and those votes not being factored in, that is, those absentee votes, right now has Donald Trump winning there. Down in Kalamazoo County, the same thing going on. Let's take a quick look at some counties in our area and see what we have. In Kent County, 55% for Trump, 43% for Biden. Again, that's with about half of the votes counting, so I assume about half of the votes remaining are going to be, or the votes remaining largely, are going to be absentee. That's where we are right now with the state presidential outlook. Let's take a look, if we can, and go to the state Senate. All right, let's just go here. The state Senate, or the U.S. Senate, I can pull off right here. John James leading with 36% of the precincts reporting, 36% of the precincts at 55 to 43. Again, a lot of absentee to come in, but this is a closely watched U.S. Senate race. Here in the U.S. House in the 3rd District, Peter Meijer leads 59-41, but this is 24% and hasn't changed for a long time. These numbers are not fresh. They need to be refreshed. We need to get a better idea. And again, we need to know about absentee. Out in the 2nd District, 27%, not a very big number, 66-31. This race didn't have the same kind of pressure on it as did the 6th and the 3rd. Here in the 6th, we've got more reporting, 58%, 61-34. We just talked with Congressman Upton. He seemed pretty optimistic just a little bit ago. John Molinar to our north and central part of the state, up 68-29 with 38%, and Tim Walberg to the south and east, 56-44. Let's look at the state house races if we can, because the makeup of the state house is up for grabs. Flip 4 for Democrats, and they could be in control. 73rd was an open seat. Brian Postumus at 54%, reporting 57-41 over Bill Saxton. Again, a lot of absentees to come in there. Julie Rogers on her way to win. In the 60th district, that was an expected win. This says 100%, but I'm told this is not including some of the absentees because of our reporting system. It continues to override. Our apologies for that. Mark Heising, incumbent Republican, 67% reporting there. In Walker, 74. In the 74th district, 64-36. In the 61st House, also in Kalamazoo, 63-37. Bronwyn Halton, a Republican, trying to take over for Republican Brant Iden. Christine Morse, the Democrat, trying to make this a flip. Again, it says 100%. I have to assume it is not taking into account all of those absentees. And we go right on through. 76, Rachel Hood, incumbent Democrat, nothing showing. She's expected to win that race. Jim Hadsma is the incumbent in the 62nd. Only 22% reporting. Republican challenger Dave Morgan up, but that's not enough to call that race. We need to see more numbers there. 77% out in Ottawa County. In the 88th, Luke Merriman, 82-18. Bradley Slaw, same thing, 72-28. Only 19% reporting in the 90th district. And finally, we'll go over here to this quickly. The 70th district, open seat, Pat Outman, 68-32, 45% reporting. This is a Republican seat that I'm sure Democrats would love to have flipped, but as of right now, it seems to be trending back into Republican hands. But again, it's a little unclear as to where the votes are coming from, so we don't make too many pronouncements too early.
Right. Yeah, that's the, it's tough to discern a little bit with
it is.
Exactly what's happening.
Let me ask you this, you know, as you look across the numbers and how things have unfolded tonight, Are you seeing any surprises, anything that stands out in your mind?
Yes, I'm a little surprised that we didn't see more separation in the presidential race. I would have thought with the amount of attention and all of the attention that Democrats had been putting on the state of Michigan, really a full court press. Remember, 2018 was a banner year for Democrats, and so they control most of the levers of government, and I would have anticipated that that might have shown up a little bit in day of voting. If those are the numbers that I'm seeing right now, they haven't yet. That doesn't mean that they won't. That doesn't mean that they won't in the absentee voting, but I'm a little surprised that I didn't see a stronger showing in those early votes with some Democratic contingencies.
Well, we just saw the electoral number jump there as well as while you were talking. So.
Right, a number of states, and I think those were all states, and I have to go back and check. I think those were states we kind of expected. We're getting down to the point now when they start calling, yeah, it was Washington and Oregon, I was just told, so we expected those to go there. Some of the states that are about to be called could make a difference because those are the ones we're waiting for, the ones that we are unsure about.
Rick Albin? All right.
Okay, Rick, thank you. We'll check back with you. Now to the race for the U.S. House 3rd District.
Jacqueline Francis has been on this race live for us all night long, and she joins us again tonight. Jacqueline?
Brian and Sue, this is that tight race between two political newcomers. And as both campaigns continue to closely watch the numbers as they come in, we've had the chance to talk to both candidates tonight in person since the polls closed just 3 hours ago. Right now, we're at Republican candidate Peter Meier's watch party in downtown Grand Rapids, where we're expecting to hear from Meier. Once again, that'll be for the second time tonight, any moment now. And it was earlier this evening, right after the polls closed, that his opponent, Democratic candidate Hillary Scholten, held a news conference and at the Kent County Democratic headquarters. And so far, both candidates seeming nothing but confident about where things stand. Take a listen.
We are on the brink of making history by electing the first woman ever to represent this district, the first Democrat in almost half a century. When I raised my hand to run for this seat 18 months ago, I saw a deep need in our community for a new kind of representative. We need people who are invested in our communities, who have the compassion and the competence to lead West Michigan forward.
The numbers are looking good, but this is one of the big things that we need to remember tonight, is that there's a strong difference between absentee voting and in-person voting. So we're seeing those numbers come in. So it's very promising, but we shouldn't get overly excited. That having been said, have a ton of fun, have some drinks, have some pizza.
Both campaigns have been careful about saying too much too early, but again, we are expecting to hear from Peter Meier any minute now. We'll be sure to bring you that update as soon as we know more. Live in Grand Rapids, Jacqueline Francis, back to you guys.
All right, Jacqueline, we look forward to that. Thank you. Congressman Fred Upton has a sizable lead over his opponent, John Hoadley, at this hour.
News 8's Kyle Mitchell has been following this race all night and joins us live from the Kalamazoo studio. Kyle.
Sue and Brian, Congressman Fred Upton spoke with us less than a half hour ago. He feels very good about tonight's results. Now, here are some of those results as they're coming in. You can follow those on the bottom of your screen, also on woodtv.com. Latest numbers we have show Congressman Fred Upton with about 61% of the vote, and John Hoadley with about 34%, and that's roughly 58% reporting. Still a lot of absentee votes out there, so that number could change a little bit through the night. But John Hoadley spoke earlier tonight asking for people to be patient as the votes come in. He was expecting a very long night. Congressman Upton feels that his message resonates with voters in the 6th Congressional District, and that it's time to get back to work.
All of us will be glad that tonight's over. And the ads off, where we can actually sit down and work, put issues over politics. We have to do that. We have a lot of folks that are hurting, a lot of small businesses. You know, how do our schools operate with these additional costs?
Y'all prepared for a long night, maybe a couple of days, who knows? We got to make sure that we count every vote. And I've been asked this by reporters up and down the conversation, but let's be honest about this. People fought and died for our freedoms, so we are able to vote. And we owe it to them to make sure that every ballot that was illegally cast is counted.
And of course, we'll keep updating those results as they come in on air and on woodtv.com. Back to you.
Okay, Kyle, thank you for that live report. Now to the U.S. Senate race, where John James holds a double-digit lead right now. No one is declaring victory there.
We have team coverage from both the campaigns tonight on the east side of the state, and we'll begin with News 8's Whitney Burney, where we just heard from Senator Gary Peters. Whitney?
Good evening, Brian and Sue. Yeah, things are finally starting to break down here at the M1 Concourse in Pontiac. We did get to sit here all afternoon and watch as Peters had a pretty well-supported drive-up meet and greet event. We did get to hear from the senator after that event finally ended, maybe about 20 or so minutes ago. He spoke a lot about the weight that Michiganders have put into this election. He spoke about how big of a turnout we've had during this presidential election. He says that environmental issues were on the ballot. Access to health care was on the ballot. And Michiganders clearly understood that. He says as critical as voter turnout was this election season, it'll also be important that people are patient as we wait for those results over the next few days. Take a listen.
Numbers are starting to trickle in. They're in, but from talking to folks and election officials, it's pretty clear we're not going to know the results till sometime tomorrow. A number of jurisdictions are still processing this massive amount of absentee ballots. So we could even stay here longer for a few hours, but I don't think they're going to come in the next few hours. In fact, I know one jurisdiction says it may be 24 hours from now before we get all of those votes in.
Now, as Peters just said, patience is going to be a virtue. Again, at last check, we saw that James, his opponent, John James, was actually leading in this case, but no one has declared victory on either side. He says at the earliest they believe they'll get some sort of result. Final result will be tomorrow. Of course, if you check Wood TV, we'll be updating those numbers all the time. For now, live in Pontiac, Whitney Burney, News 8.
All right. Whitney, nice to hear from the senator there tonight at his drive-by event. Like he said, he could hang around for a couple more, but they're not going to find out.
Nope. Nope. Going to have to just be patient and wait on those totals coming in. Whitney, thank you.
News 8's Heather Walker is with the John James camp in Detroit. Heather, we've checked in with you. We've got a gauge on the mood. I've been following you on social. This is a campaign night like election night unlike any other.
Look at that. The incumbency also plays a role. It's hard to beat an incumbent. It is very hard to beat an incumbent.
Absolutely. And John James not ready to talk yet, but the party is still going strong. Let me tell you, there's a small group here. They're keeping it small, but these people have not left, and they continue to cheer as they're hearing these results come in. It is too early to call. We only have at last check about 35% of the vote being reported right now. James, though, leading a double-digit lead. And his camp, though, saying they're still going to watch and wait and see how this plays out throughout the night. If James wins, this would mean a big change. First, he'd be the first black senator for the state of Michigan. To date, only 10 African Americans have served in the U.S. Senate overall. And also, it would switch it over to a Republican. Right now, the last time we had that was back in 2000 when Debbie Stabenow took over. So we're going to have to wait and see, and I feel like this party might be going on for some time tonight. Yes, reporting live in Detroit, Heather Walker, News 8.
Once again, time.
Right.
Time in the ballots, counting them. Okay, Heather, thank you.